All right, we're back with the Harry Thomas Show Week in Review. Today is Sunday, February 3rd, 2008. I'm your host, Harry Thomas. The website is at harrythomas.info. I want to get into a whole bunch of stuff this segment. One of it has come out of the Washington Post, Thursday, January 31st, 2008. Soldiers' suicides are at a record level, and I've talked about this before on the show. It says here, suicides among active duty soldiers in 2007 reached their highest level since the Army began keeping such records in 1980, according to a draft internal study obtained by the Washington Post. Last year, 121 soldiers took their own lives, nearly 20% more than in 2007. Now, last year, about 2,100 soldiers injured themselves or attempted suicide, compared to about 350 in 2002. So this is on the rise. And not only that, we've covered a whole bunch of stories of where soldiers come back and commit murders, and all kinds of weird accidents happen to them. This is the trouble with this, is because they're doing these extended tours, years and years. They're under so much stress and strain that post-traumatic stress disorder is rampant. A lot of them are on psychotropic drugs. A lot of them are being trained to torture and other techniques that are just incredible. And a lot of them are coming back and becoming police officers. So we're seeing the militarization of the police force and all kinds of torture being used there. I mean, and a lot of people said, oh, the U.S. doesn't use waterboarding. That's just a myth and everything else. Well, I've got this that came out of Reuters, Tuesday, January 29th. Former spy chief confirms U.S. waterboarding. U.S. officials have been reluctant to acknowledge the CIA's use of simulated drowning techniques, which human rights groups call an illegal form of torture. Well, there you have it. It's on the record. And I told you it was on the record before. But people want to continue to bury their heads in the sand about this. A man was tortured to death in police custody in Gwinnett County, Georgia. An unedited police tape shows 31-year-old Deacon Frederick Williams being struck with a taser 5 times in 43 seconds, just 4 minutes after being led into jail. The police had him, about 5-6 officers had him down. His hands were handcuffed behind his back, and they used torture device on him, a lethal weapon. And this is what they've been training these officers in, that this is a non-lethal weapon, but it is a lethal weapon. We've had hundreds of deaths. Here's one that came out, Hamilton City. A bicyclist was tased when he runs for a minor infraction. He had improper lighting equipment. He was shot with a taser. Now, this is the mentality of the police here. We consider the taser as being at the same level of force as other weapons, including pepper spray and batons. Pepper spray and batons don't kill people normally. I mean, a baton can, of course, pepper spray, definitely does damage, but we're talking about a taser gun that has killed. But this is the mentality. I mean, a lot of police forces has banned its use, and I want to applaud them. A lot of investigations have gone in about its use, and I'm not saying that all police are bad. Most of them are well trained. But all I'm saying is we've got a bunch of them that are out of control. And if you're an officer, this code of silence has got to go at some point. When people are being killed and tortured, it's got to go. And you veteran cops know what I'm talking about. You see these young bucks coming in here on steroids, all hyped up on psychotropic drugs and stuff. Tell them it's not acceptable. You guys are peace officers. You're not murderers. Okay? I don't want anybody to be confused and think I'm against the police, because I'm not. But I'm against police abuse, and I'm against using torture devices on Americans, or on anybody for that fact. The early shows Harry Smith. He bizarrely hinted at an Obama assassination this week, and I reported a few weeks ago where Daniel Esteban said that higher-up elites, these neocon groups, were talking about an assassination of Ron Paul. So apparently something's going on here, and it seems they are just trying to acclimate you to that type of information. Senator Ted Kennedy having endorsed Barack Obama for president, Smith, he was on the show, early show, and Smith said, I think I know what I was trying to say. If sometimes agents of change end up being targets. This is what he said.
What I was trying to say is sometimes agents of change end up being targets, as you well know, and that was why I was asking if you were at all fearful of that.
But yeah.
And he was asking if Barack Obama feared that. You know, and what is all this fear campaigning that they're using in the media? I mean, you see it over and over and over again. Now, Hillary Clinton was out on the campaign trail, and she got a question on the Bush-Clinton dynasty.
That you have claimed that your presidency would bring change to America. I'm 38 years old, and I have never had an opportunity to vote in a presidential election in which a Bush or a Clinton wasn't on the ticket. How can you be an agent of change when we have had the same two families in the White House for the last 30 years?
Well, I think that what's great about our political system is that we are all judged on our own merits. You know, we come forward to the American public, and it's the most grueling political process one can imagine. We start from the same place. Nobody has an advantage no matter who you are or where you came from. Nobody has an advantage no matter who you are or where you came from. Nobody has an advantage no matter who you are or where you came from.
Now, can you believe that? She's talking about she doesn't have any special privilege. She's a Bilderberg member, okay? And if you don't know what that means, check it out for yourself. We're talking about a bunch of elite. She's bought and paid for on the strings. International banking interests, military-industrial complex. They're who's running things. What do you mean? I mean, that is such a joke. She doesn't have any special treatment. Now, she also said on the trail this week, and this came out January 28th, that she thinks they should have bloggers inside government agencies. And we've covered plenty of times about how they put these planted media from the CIA and stuff, and they have these fake news reports. Schwarzenegger, Bush, they all been caught doing it. I mean, it's totally documented. She thinks bloggers now should be in government agencies putting out government propaganda by the second.
More generally, we need to get information out there. Now that we have the internet, we should be putting as much government information out as possible. You all deserve to know what your government has done and what your government is doing. I've even, you know, this may be a little radical, but I've even suggested that we have bloggers inside government agencies so that people get, you know, real-time information about what's going on.
I mean, that is sick. I mean, what are we talking about here? She wants to be a dictator. Now, Lou Dobbs says you better watch out for this new stimulus bill because illegal immigrants can receive a tax rebate check from the government, and apparently there's a whole bunch of illegal immigrants that file tax returns every year, in case you didn't know that. Now, there is a coercion plan to force the ID cards on first-time drivers, and they're going to be using various forms of coercion while they're rolling out these ID cards, saying that it's going to remain voluntary for now. But pretty soon they're just going to make it so uncomfortable for you that you have to submit. Talking about Bilderberg, French TV cited the Bilderberg Group's power, and they talked about it right on French TV. You could check that out for yourself. And who am I? I'm a man who's fed up and disgusted with the way and the direction the world's going. You know, I am sick of these power elites trying to enslave us. These tyrants, okay? They're desecrating our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, and it needs to be stopped. And I've got so much stuff here that I can't get to. I'm going to have to do some special reports this week, and I will be back next week to expose more corruption at the highest levels. I want to thank you for listening.